Hello everyone, welcome to ANSquare-Academy. Today we are going to discuss Newton's first law of motion from the chapter Force and Laws of Motion. Let's discuss few examples of Newton's first law of motion and then after that we will come to the statement of first law of motion. Let's say there is a car and initially the car is stationary. At present the car is not moving, it is in stationary condition. And this car will not move. And this car will not move unless driver press the accelerator, unless driver applies some force. What we have discussed in this example, the car is stationary and it will not move unless the driver press the accelerator. That means he is pressing the accelerator and he is applying some force. So till then the car will not move until and unless the driver is pressing the accelerator and he is applying some force. So to move this car, force is required, an external force, an unbalanced force is required. Okay, let's see another example. Now there is a car and now this car is moving. This car is moving with some velocity. This car will not stop. What we will do to stop this car? We will apply brakes. And in form of brakes, what we are doing? We are applying force. An example to what we have discussed. Car is moving with some velocity. It will not stop unless the driver applies some force. Driver applies some force means driver will apply brakes. Then only the car will stop. Now the first law of motion states that Newton's first law of motion states that an object remains in a state of rest or of uniform motion unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. That means an object will stay in a state of rest or of uniform motion until and unless there is an external force, there is an external unbalanced force which is going to move that object or to stop that object. We discussed in these two examples. Earlier the car was at rest, we have applied some force, we have pressed the accelerator and the car starts moving. In the second example, the car was moving earlier and to stop this we have applied force, we have applied brakes, then only the car was stopped. So this condition, unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. This is important. Let's take another example. There is a football and I want to move it from one place to another. How I can move this football? I will kick this football by my leg. Yes, then only then it will change its state of rest and it will move when I apply force on this football. When I kick this football, then only this football will move. So the statement says it will stay in a state of rest unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. I am applying force on this football by kicking this football. So then only this football will move. Then only this football will change the state of rest to motion. So getting this point, dear children, this is as simple as that. There is no hard and fast rule in this first law of motion. This is such a simple law. This is something we already experienced in our daily life. We used to experience all these examples, all these situations in our daily life, but few more examples to clear the concept better. I throw a ball. This is a ball and when I throw a ball, this will travel some distance. It will move through some distance and after that it slows down and then finally stops. Can you think what is stopping this ball? Now there is nothing visible. What is stopping this ball? I throw a ball, it traveled some distance and after traveling some distance, it finally stops. What is stopping this ball? What is that external force called? Yes, that external force is the frictional force which is acting opposite in movement of this ball, in the direction of movement of this ball. Frictional force. This frictional force is acting, this is acting in opposite direction of the motion of the ball and gradually decreasing its speed and finally the ball will stop after traveling certain distance. There is a table and on this table a jug is kept. this jug will not move itself. It will not change its state of rest unless compelled to change that state. When somebody comes and pick this jug from the table, then only this jug can move from here. Then only this jug can change the state of rest. When somebody comes and pick this jug from here and keep it somewhere else, then only this jug can move from here to some other place. Okay. So an object will remain in a state of rest. Okay, this is at a state of rest and it will change its state of rest only when it is compelled to change that state by some external applied force. So dear students, in all these examples we have discussed, earlier the object was either at rest or it was moving. And it could change the state only when it is forced to change that state by applying some external unbalanced force. You have to remember this term, unbalanced force. Why unbalanced? Because after applying unbalanced force, the object can move. If the force is balanced, equal and opposite in direction, the object will not move. So dear students, I hope you have understood Newton's first law of motion. You can explain 1 or 2 examples from this while you write the statement. While writing the statement, explaining the examples is must. You can explain 2 to 3 examples from this. And if you have any doubt, then you can mention that in the comment box. This is all for today, dear students. Thank you.